concentration of power.
Democracy, poverty reduction, and cryptocurrency.
Are you sophisticated enough to invest in securities?
Bitcoin is actually a reversion to commodity money.
Decentralized social networking.
Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome. I'm not sure where you guys are seeing us. I'd love to know where you're from. Drop a comment below. So welcome to the Intercoin show. I have here our amazing team from the Intercoin, and we have like a lot of interesting topics to talk about. So what is Intercoin show? We are doing a show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. where we talk about cryptocurrency, how the industry is changing. We try to teach others about smart contracts, crypto, blockchain, and a lot of other topics are really trending right now. And we want to teach others to make sure that they know what's going on and maybe even like help understand better the technology. So we also make sure we kind of like cover what Intercoin is all about, our technology and applications. So definitely join us every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time here on YouTube or our Telegram group, Intercoin. So my name is Marcela Białczak. I'm going to be the host today. I'm also the media director of Intercoin, and I'm going to quickly introduce the team we have here today. So I'll start with Gregory Magershak. Greg, you want to introduce yourself? Probably everybody knows you.
Hey, I'm Greg Magershak, founder and CEO of Intercoin. I am very passionate about using technology to improve people's lives. And I believe we can do that through community building and helping communities unite. So this time we're trying a new format for the show and see what's going on. Hopefully it'll catch on. A little bit of video. At this point, I'm the only one on video with Marcy, but we'll see if how you all like it. So today's show, as usual, is about bringing crypto mainstream and explaining to people who might not necessarily know what's going on in the crypto space, what it's all about, and where things are going. So that's pretty much it from me.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg, so much. So I wanted to also introduce Elena Rivers. Elena, feel free to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elena Rivers. I am based in UK. I'm one of the advisors on the project Intercoin. And my vision is to help Intercoin to go global. And I'm working predominantly on different partnerships with businesses, organizations, and with different governmental organizations as well. And my focus today is to speak about what is happening in the politics in correlation with blockchain.
Thank you, Elena, so much. So I wanted to also introduce another member. Actually, it's the new member of our team, which is Carter. Carter, where are you calling from?
Hi there. I'm also in the UK, but I'm up in Scotland, as you can probably tell from the weird accent. But yeah, I'm quite a new addition to the team. I'm going to be working alongside Stacey, involved in obviously community building, trying to get the word out there about what Intercoin is and what the vision is, the difference it can make to, obviously bringing in a real adoption to this technology, but also to, people's lives. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
What made you join the team, Carter? I really wanted to hear your story on that.
I've been in crypto for, I started dabbling in it early, mid 2017. And what it's like, it's a rabbit hole that I delved down. And like everybody in it, I've been waiting to see it being used in some way where it's actually, you see it getting used on a day-to-day basis by people. And that's just not really happened yet. There's some applications that's getting used in the background. Maybe people have used it and they don't realize they've used it. And also, like I say, when I was connected with Stacey, we started talking about Intercoin. And it wasn't just that. It wasn't just bringing this to the sort of grassroots level, if you get what I mean, by using it by everyday people every day, but also, all the other aspects and the applications that can be used to really improve people's life. So I was like, wow, any chance to be involved in this, I'm in. Yeah.
Yes, that's so true. Actually, probably one of the reasons why we all joined is like we really felt kind of like part of that movement, like really making crypto for once go mainstream. And hopefully Intercoin will be able to achieve that in the near future. Thank you, Carter. I also have with us Stacy. Stacy is our community builder specialist. Hi, Stacy. Can you hear us fine? I'll probably go back to Alicia once Stacy's like fixing the audio. Alicia, welcome. You're also a new member in the team. What made you join Intercoin? And tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hi, I'm Alicia Anglin. I am a professional abstract artist. I've been an artist for 15 years. I just entered the crypto NFT space this year in April, and I'm very excited to be a part of Intercoin. So this is very exciting. And today I'm going to be speaking about celebrities newly entering the NFT space and basically what's changed from the beginning until now. You know, a lot of things have changed. So. And I really like the mission of Intercoin and bringing the knowledge to people and spreading the word. So that's going to be my mission, to spread the word about Intercoin.
Yes, like NFT is like such a great topic. We also had a show, like what was it, like I think 2 weeks ago, where we talked about the NFT, you know, how the industry is changing. And if you guys have missed that show, definitely go on our YouTube channel and watch it live. I mean, not live, but like watch the recording version, just so you can learn a little bit more about why everybody's talking about NFTs and why is it trending. So glad to have you, Alicia, on the team, and looking forward to, you know, what we can do with Intercoin's NFT that we're probably discussing to launch sometime. Probably, I think January, February, right, Greg?
Yeah, I think so.
That was a big pause.
It's my muting. I muted myself. Forgot to do that.
It's okay. And Stacey, can we hear you? Can you like test your audio again? If not, we'll probably like jump into the discussions we have today. Okay, we'll probably move on. So what is the agenda today? Like why we chose Newcomers to crypto? Just to kind of like give you guys a little bit background. We have seen this huge shift since 2020, since the pandemic happened. I think everything happens for a reason. Not that crypto is new or happened in 2020. We have been hearing about crypto. We have been hearing about different coins, different hedge funds and other companies, big companies out there trying to, you know, use crypto for their own company. Maybe they're employees or like have some type of like relation with the blockchain. And this is like not really just like a spike, but I think something happened in 2020. And I believe that like people finally realized that the dollar value is going down and other coins, I mean, other like actual currencies out there. But not just that, like we see like probably in the future, we're not going to use cash anymore. Almost no one uses cash. I don't know. Do you guys use cash anymore? Alicia, Elena?
I still do. I use cash here and there, but I mean, a lot of times, I mean, I am using my Coinbase card. So, I mean, that's pretty much crypto, right? So, I mean, I don't know. It's been kind of crazy, but I'm excited to see where it's going to go for sure.
I use cash when the tow truck comes and tries to get my car, and I got to pay the
Or probably when you leave a tip in the restaurant. Honestly, the only reason I use cash is if I'm going shopping, I need to make sure I'm limiting myself. So I'm like, okay, if cash is running out, then you cannot buy that dress or the outfit. And this is the only way how I can limit myself. Unless like, you know, I'll have like a huge argument with my husband at home. But yeah, like we've seen the huge shift.
I want to say something about that. You know, for hundreds of years, that's what people use. So before they use gold, then they use a paper money. But like people were limited. There's a nice skit by what's his name? The comedian guy, the redhead comedian guy, not Bill Burr, the other guy. Oh, he's a shock comedian in a way. Anyway, he has this thing called "Everything is awesome and nobody's happy," and everything is amazing, nobody's happy. Look it up. He was like on Conan, and I think he was talking basically about how people used to not have credit cards and they were like, I ran out of cash. Well, I guess I can't do things anymore today. But that's like the consumer, because we're talking about money with Intercoin. So the consumer credit boom happened in the 70s and 80s. where it kind of masked the wage stagnation that people got. So since 70s and 80s, Piketty and others, they have these analyses of basically what happened to people's earning power and wages. And so there's this like boom of credit that companies gave to consumers. And the idea is if the consumers are the ones driving the economy, so if you go out and buy that new cell phone, a new iPhone, a shiny thing you might not need, that drives the economy. And whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But my point is that having more money in the economy helped the community and helped the community be stronger. But what we do know is that if there is not enough cash and there's a credit crunch, it used to be in the Great Depression, having a way to inject an extra money supply, whether that's local currency or whether that's whatever, can really, really help the economic activity. Because like you said, if you have no more money, then you can't do any more things. So just wanted to point that out, that the consumer, the issuers of the consumer credit are in a way, they're not fiat. You did not have to accept them. The stores did not have to accept credit cards or Visa payment, MasterCard. Many don't. Whereas the cash is legal tender, and that's basically they have to accept it. If you go to a restaurant, you have a debt, and you offer cash and they don't take it, that's their problem. You could just walk out of the restaurant. The reason they accept this is because they trust. It took time, but they trust the banks to pay out, the merchant banks to pay out, and that's what Intercoin is trying to basically build. The next level is to make it all autonomous with no one having to trust anybody except the system itself. Just wanted to interject that little geeky stuff about money. Go ahead, Marcia.
Yeah, no, definitely. These are all great stuff. And to be honest, like, I think also like the reason why we have seen that huge spike on celebrities, if it's like basketball players or even mayors, like trying to adopt crypto or at least do something or invest in it, is because people are finally realizing that not only I can use this and this will be the new generation of money one day, right? And actually that day is pretty soon, but also they're seeing like by me holding the money in the bank and gaining that very small percentage is almost nothing compared to holding the same crypto coins, where potentially, I know it's sometimes speculation, but potentially you can earn and make a lot of money. And we do know a lot of people that have made millions and millions of dollars with, just like holding Bitcoin from like back in the day. We all have had that chance of like probably investing in Bitcoin when it was like $60 or, $50. And now, it still is going up. So this is also a way for people to invest in a way and maybe make more money than probably they ever did with their, working 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, right? But I really wanted to kind of like talk about, this shift when it comes to like the celebrities, and especially like specifically mayors. So I'm going to share this article that Elena shared with me. And I really wanted to kind of like Elena talk about like what she thinks about when she sees that mayors across, US or other countries are kind of like, talking more about investing, talking more about crypto, talking more about doing city coins or digital currencies that maybe can help their local economy of their city and state. Elena, like, what is kind of your thoughts on this?
Well, we started with cryptocurrencies a long time ago, but the major point at the moment, what's happening, cryptocurrencies are showing all the signs of going mainstream, and Intercoin is working on it 24/7 in different countries. Because Intercoin designed from the ground up to power communities' currencies. And the reason why I like that article, when I've seen it, I thought like, oh, that's exactly what we've been talking about for 3 years already, that cities needs to roll out their own currencies. And just recently, in this article, it says that Eric Adams, New York City mayor-elect, he said, New York is going to be the center of the cryptocurrency industry and other fast-growing innovative industries. Just wait. And even more, he is happy to receive his free paychecks in Bitcoins. So we totally can see that all previous years, cryptocurrencies were not accepted yet, but it's not the point anymore. It's not preserved anymore for small group of tech enthusiasts, for example. And not only libertarians wants to have cryptocurrencies, even banks running their own projects now on blockchains, and they having sandboxes, and everything is going into direction of freedom and decentralization. And with the current situation with UBI movements between mayors, and we can see a lot of changes literally for the last year. It's happened when a mayor of Miami announced that he would do Miami Coin, and the program created already almost 20 millions extra revenue to the city, and he's planning to do the UBI in the city with the funding from Bitcoin, what they received during last few months.
Yeah, like that's like a lot of like things are moving. And I was just like speaking actually not even like a few months ago when we were hearing also like not just like mayors, but like we were hearing like how even banks, like, they couldn't basically, they were saying like they couldn't kill crypto in a way. So they were trying to like develop and invest in crypto or create their own digital currencies, right? A lot of like cryptos came out of it. Like people are being more understanding now what the potential can see. Like this was something like, we posted literally a year ago, if you see, like more than a year ago. And we right away started seeing this news like right after the pandemic a lot, where people were like looking also like the way how the whole like the payments that the government was giving, the stimulus checks, like it was such a mess. Like people were getting double, or maybe they were not getting, like there were stimulus checks lost in the system. If we had some type of universal basic income, or using like blockchain technology, or using some type of smart contracts, this would have not been an issue. But the government didn't know there was going to be a pandemic, so they didn't invest. And that's why probably is the reason why a lot of people now are looking to this. We also see like, a lot of like investment funds or hedge funds or big investors or big corporations like investing more and more in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, like, because they see like this is something they cannot get rid of. This is something that either you get adapted. And I love, like, I'm going to quote you, Greg, on this, but I love like how in our previous show you played a video, and it was something about, like an old video, like here and years ago, like, what is the internet? It was in the news, and like there was this people trying to figure out how to explain what internet was. And, this is exactly the time that we are. Like people don't know how to explain blockchain, so they feel scared, but it doesn't mean that this is not where the industry is shifting. So either you get adopted, if it's from banks or so on, or you get lost and you get like bankrupt, and you get like, your business will be dropping. We see even banks nowadays, there's less and less locations because everything is virtual anyways. So why not? They shouldn't do it, right? Greg, what's your thought on this? Like, I know like you have probably more things to say on this topic.
No, I wanted to let the team talk. I think virtual, the thing is, there's so much in the virtual world where, you always feel like, in my day, we didn't need all this stuff. You kids with your metaverse and your NFTs and your whatever, and I kind of feel like a grandpa a little bit that way. I'm not necessarily against all that stuff. I think that we're going to see so much potential with virtual reality. You don't have to commute to the office, which I personally like, not having to burn those fossil fuels just so you could sit in another chair somewhere thousands of miles away, maybe 100 miles away, or even less, 20 miles. But still, they did the statistic that Mozart, one of the most prolific travelers of his time, today would be in the bottom 10% of traveling because of how everyone is just using this fossil fuels to move around. So yeah, virtual reality can bring other things into your reality. You can share things. It removes the space distance that already internet has removed. But at the same time, I feel it sucks people into away from each other. And like my companies, Cubics and Intercoin, are all about helping people to reconnect with each other, dating, teaching, doctor's appointments, local dinner, creating events, conferences, cruise ships, getting people to know and get to know each other and progress their relationships in the real world is something I'm passionate about. So basically, it's sort of this thing where we build technology to get people back into connecting with one another. There was a book called Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam, and this was 20 years ago. He noticed the breakdown of the American society and the family structure, where people weren't going to church anymore, and I guess they were bowling alone. I don't know. I haven't seen that, but the idea is that today we have a much better, richer economy than in the past. We just don't see it. Everything around us is faster, better, but we live alone a lot of the time. Young people, they move into the city. They don't know their neighbors. They don't know anybody around them in their buildings often, and and they sit and they get Amazon delivered. They get Grubhub or stuff, whatever, seamless, and that's what happens. And so I feel that we need communities to come together, and that's what the tools we build are all about. So yeah, you could do it virtually. Yeah, you could do it on the internet. And Intercoin can help with that too, obviously, with the economy. But I think the virtual world and with NFTs holds a lot of promise. Augmented reality, virtual reality, NFTs, but it's just scratching the surface. And a lot of times the industry goes into these crazy speculative things which don't matter so much. Like, hey, I can sell a tweet and you could still look at my tweet even without buying it, but my tweet sold for a lot of money. And I think we're going to move away from that to like actual utility and usefulness. That's my personal view. But hey, what do I know? I'm an old grandpa when it comes to this, right?
And you touched on literally the next topic I wanted to actually have Alicia speak. I know she has a little bit more experience with NFTs. So Alicia, can you share a little bit more how you see the NFTs changing the industry and how a lot of celebrities and artists that now are kind of adapting to it?
Hey, everybody. Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely see a lot changing from, we went through this and we're still going through this whole COVID thing. But I definitely, my experience, I used to do, 3 to 5 shows a year, and now that has came to a complete halt. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make
by
sure.
the way, Monty, there's people writing in the chat. You should definitely give them a shout out afterwards.
Okay.
Definitely.
So
go ahead. Sorry. Yep.
No, it's okay. So basically, all due to COVID. So a lot of those came to a halt. So I personally decided to dabble in the NFT world. And so regarding celebrities entering the market first by NFTs, earlier this year, Paris Hilton got involved. I don't know if you guys saw that, but she, her project was already buying NFTs before even doing anything. She was buying NFTs from artists and also engaging in the NFT community on a daily basis, which I thought was pretty cool. And her NFTs are still holding value, but there's a lot of celebrities entering the space, and I'm not sure if they're doing it so much as a money grab or worse, even worse, a trend. But definitely there's a lot of what I'm seeing now is that a lot of long-term NFT investors are shunning away the celebrity category of NFTs. They're actually purchasing more from smaller artists, and I really like to see that as well. So I'm loving the fact that it's not just geared about, because I know in the beginning it was crazy. This one's selling for 1 million, and then you have the director Quentin Tarantino now. Fast forward to now, he just listed uncut scenes from his Pulp Fiction as NFTs on OpenSea, and so far there's actually no takers on that. So that was definitely something that I've seen really big change. It's gone from the big boom earlier this year to now they're starting to get more into the gaming as well. And then I know like from earlier this year to like the third and fourth quarter, the Ethereum dollar value tripled and in turn caused the dollar value of NFTs to increase. So it's just a lot of long-term investors have been staying away kind of from some of the celebrity projects that I noticed. And then you have celebrities like, for instance, Floyd Mayweather, for instance, I think, unfortunately, some of his collection didn't do that well. I haven't seen him post anything about it in months. So I think that was more of a maybe a money grab from celebrities and stuff. So just basically, they have an overall huge solid base to the market. So and also, I also want to mention Elon Musk. I don't know if you guys remember when he reposted that girl's meme of a man, like you were just talking about tweets, that you could sell tweets, but there was this chick that sold something that Elon Musk had retweeted for like, I think it was, I don't know, like $20,000. It was a woman and a man in like a bed, like a cartoon picture, and it was actually sold for $20,000, all because Elon Musk retweeted it. So that was like, pretty crazy. I know that they got like 80,000 retweets on that. So that's been going on. But I mean, overall, I think there's just a lot of different changes even coming. And I think as a community, and the NFT community is by far the best community I've ever been in. I definitely think there's a lot of, love in there, and, everybody's, doing their thing. And you got people like the good, celebrities like Mark Cuban, I like to call him my friend because he like retweeted one of my NFTs back in August, but he's not my friend, but he's highly active in the NFT community and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I definitely appreciate him. I know a lot of artists, look up to him as well. And then, but he's a billionaire and he's super active in the NFT community and buys from small artists and supports artists, and his portfolio shows that. So basically,
what I was going to ask,
yeah,
is like, how do artists even start with this? Because they're not an expert. Do they probably have investors or a team of support? Because this is so new that you can't even find specialists. Like that's something that I was seeing on TikTok and influencers on YouTube. Is like they were saying like how a lot of them want to do it, but they don't know where to start. So how would they start?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I actually have been kind of doing little consults with a few of my friends on Instagram. They're artists like myself, traditional physical artists, and it's definitely a totally different world. So I've been trying to do like little phone consults with them and just try to help them out. So the first thing that any NFT, any physical artist wants to get into the NFT world, with your pictures, you'll want to first get a crypto wallet. So that's something that would be the first step. You need a crypto wallet. And then what you would do is, my go-to is OpenSea. It's always been OpenSea, but of course there's other marketplaces out there. But, with OpenSea, you would connect your wallet and then start creating, you would follow the steps to create and upload those images and put your description. It's pretty much, it's a lot, but I definitely see, a lot more traditional artists coming into the realm. And then for once, I know I would just tell any NFT artist that's just getting into this, if they're listening, it definitely takes time. You might not make a sale overnight. But I took a whole month to sell my first NFT. You have to be patient. It will definitely happen. People, everybody likes different things. So, maybe these people might not like it, but somebody else might be like, whoa, I love that whole collection, so definitely patience is key. And then like I said, the first thing is getting set up with your wallet, attaching it to OpenSea. That was my go-to. I like the fact that you only pay gas one time. And then after that, minting, you can mint thousands and thousands of NFTs. That's why that was my first go-to, because, nobody, and especially gas fees now, you're spending $200 to $400 any given time to mint something. So I definitely would start there. And then also, obviously there's other like Polygon, for instance, they have extremely low to nearly nothing, gas fees, but that's a whole nother thing. But for once we get this thing going with Intercoin, that's going to be even better, right? So that's going to be something that's going to be community based. And I'm excited to learn about that as well. That's going to be pretty cool.
I think Stacy told me a lot that buying an NFT is about joining a community. Is that right? I don't know if Stacy is
Absolutely, absolutely. And I kind of got sidetracked there, but yeah, the first thing is get on Twitter if you don't have a Twitter account, and start, definitely, following other artists, sharing other artists' work, commenting on another artist. If you have the extra funds, buy a piece from another artist. That's part of being in the community. Complimenting somebody. It only takes that one few words, your work is great, I love your work, to really boost somebody's confidence, and then they might make 10 sales that week. It really, the community is the most important thing. The NFT community, especially on Twitter. I post some stuff on Instagram and stuff, but anybody that's just getting in, that's actually one of the first things, other than the wallet opening, is, getting on Twitter and sharing your work and sharing others' work, and communicating, engaging with people,
I think, well, I have a question, by the way. Why don't people use other chains which are much cheaper? Like, if it's so cheap to use Binance Smart Chain or to use Polygon Matic, why does everybody spend hundreds of dollars on a transaction when they don't have to? I never understood that.
I think mostly it's the security and the popularity thing. OpenSea actually came out a while ago, and they really started booming back in like March or April. I got on there in April, but I think it's more of like they feel secure, and a lot of, because I hold Matic as well, and I actually could mint, but I don't know. I'm one of those people that, in the beginning, at least for now, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So it's kind of like that thing. But definitely, I see more and more artists, and I'm actually, I myself have been looking into other marketplaces. Either Binance, Solana. You got Matic. There's other places that you can. So that's kind of working behind the scenes with that. So I definitely think that if you don't, any artist that doesn't have a little Ethereum to spend, but the only thing with OpenSea is that you don't have to pay for the gas fee after the first minting. So to get started, but there's going to be so many new things, coming out, and then Intercoin as well with the community coins, and we got a lot of good things, going on with that. So I just think, overall, I think it's more of a security thing for people.
They got the first mover advantage as well, didn't they?
And actually, on the 1st of December, we're going to have an event especially focused on the NFTs, and we will bring special guests, several guests who are professional already in NFTs. Despite that NFTs, for some people, is very new topic. In reality, it started in 2017, and no one expected that CryptoPunks, it begins from CryptoPunks, and no one expected that it would be sold 10,000 faces, and that's how the history NFTs began. But we have a big surprise for our community, for all community in NFT, for artists and investors who are interested in the space. Come to our event on the 1st of December, and we will tell you more. We will share with you experience of our friends who actually wants to share and who is coming as a guest for our show on 1st of December.
That's great. Looking forward to it, Elena.
Thanks, Elena.
So I feel like, Alicia, we need to probably redo our NFT show where we literally are training people how to sell their NFTs. Because I think from what you were telling me, there were so many things that we actually didn't cover on our NFT show. We were talking more about the industry and, why it's important for artists to be up to date with it and, start now. But yeah, you made a lot of great points. And I really wanted to kind of see how our community is going to engage in a way when we are working probably on NFTs in the future, but also really encouraging people to not be scared, but do their research, reach out to people that have experience experience helping others selling and so on, maybe like you or other agencies out there as well. Just to kind of like move from this topic to kind of go back to like why celebrities or why we keep seeing like a rise, I really wanted to kind of like probably cover the part when it comes to like why we see all these basketball players and why we see other people that we probably never thought like they'll care about when it comes to like cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Wait, did we just drop? Did we just lose you?
Yeah, I think we just lost her.
Yes, that's okay. Not a problem. We are still here.
You're all still here.
And we can continue.
We are taking over the show, people. I'll be your new host. How are you? For now, I'll be the interim host. So yeah, we're talking about, we had this entire episode of NFTs that we talked about the scarcity and why the scarcity. I actually wanted to ask on this one because we have more people here now. Can you kind of get into what is the point of the scarcity? Because obviously with computers, the whole thing, right? I'm a utility guy. I care about people getting their money's worth. So like, why would someone buy a publicly available tweet or whatever that I can view anytime I want without buying it? Like, what do I get for buying it? Except being able to show on some blockchain to someone that I own some token ID. Like, what's the point? I just wanted to throw it out there. Like, what do you feel is the
modern day flexing, isn't it? I mean, people like, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would hold more value having a $1 million ape as their verified Twitter profile picture than a brand new Rolex. That used to be the old school to sort of flash your cash, so to speak. But yeah, I think this whole movement in the metaverse and owning property and owning assets digitally is actually, I noticed that a few years ago when it was my girlfriend at the time's younger brother. His mum and dad were asking him what he wanted for Christmas, and he wanted FIFA points for his Xbox so he could buy strips and new better boots for the players on the football game. And I thought, wow, he didn't want anything to open. He didn't want anything you could feel, hold, plug in, put batteries in, or go out and play on like I did when I was a kid. He wanted ones and zeros effectively. And yeah, so we're definitely moving in a whole different era. Yeah, and obviously NFTs is a big part of that, I think.
And also fun tokens. And welcome back, Marcy. Our host is here. And
yes,
maybe you can.
For some reason, I got like snap out of it.
That's okay. We are continuing our conversation, and you can get the floor back to yourself to lead the conversation about sports industry.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of like hear, like I said, his view when it comes to like why we're seeing this spike when it comes to basketball players, the soccer players. Like, why does the industry care about cryptocurrency or even like owning their own digital currency? Are they probably using it, for their fans to like get into it? Because let's say, if you have a celebrity who has such a huge influence and has so many followers, if tomorrow he has his own token, imagine how many people are to invest in that and how many people are probably going to use it. But is there maybe something else out of it other than just like having a token to have a token? Like, why are celebrities probably changing this? Are they probably predicting something? What do you think, Carter?
Well, I don't know how big Messi is in the US, because I know soccer's not that massive in America. But along with Cristiano Ronaldo, he's probably the biggest sports person out with America. So it's massive for somebody like him. I did see an NFL player as well, but I forgot his name. He's getting 50% of his salary in Bitcoin. And you're wondering, for the last so many years, all I've heard is, the FUD, they call it, this is a scam, it's a Ponzi, it's this and that. And, who's advising Lionel Messi on his finances? It's not going to be some guy you just Googled. It's going to be the best financial advisor money can get. Same with these NFL players. So there's obviously a belief that this is going somewhere. in the industries, in the financial industries behind the scenes. And inflation that affects, people with a lot of money as well. It's a percentage game. 10% of somebody with a lot of money, and 10% of somebody with not too much money, it's still 10%. So if these guys are putting in, their money into fiat, they're getting paid in fiat into the bank account. They're getting 0.5% or 1% or whatever on whatever savings they're in. They're losing 5-6% a year in inflation. So every $100 they've got there is worth $95.
Exactly. And that's like a great point, right? Like that's exactly probably why. But probably even like, they have these stadiums, right? They have all these like big matches that they can probably utilize that big audience either online or in person to use the token to buy the tickets or to use that token to buy merchandise and whatever is in that stadium and during the especially when it's the World Cup and all that, right? So I think like there's probably more to it, but again, like cryptocurrency is also like a little bit almost like a hidden agenda. Like not everybody knows what the actual agenda is of companies or these hedge funds like moving into blockchain, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just like I was saying about the inflation, etc. as well. But these guys, they've obviously got enough money to be able to ride out the 80% dips. I think Bitcoin's had maybe 80% dips, or 70%, multiple 30% dips. So it's a medium to long term thing, and they can obviously ride these moments out. But they know it's the best. Bitcoin's the best performing asset since its inception, isn't it? So that's absolutely the way it's going. And I think we're still at that stage. That graph. It's the early adopters. The innovators going into early adopters, and it's a very small curve. Then it goes into sort of the early majority, and it just goes, parabolic. We are definitely still at that very early stage, and even seeing all this adoption that we're seeing at the moment, that's nothing to what's right around the corner, I think. So I was making some comparisons. I was looking at the adoption of the internet. Obviously, thinking its most basic form was the mid-80s. In the first 5 years, up to 1990, I had 2.5 million users. Then between 1990 and 1995, it was up to 40 million. Then 95 up to 2000, it was 400 million. And then we all know what happened after into the 2000s. It's and I think it's that video that Greg shared of what is internet anyway. And you touched on that earlier. We're at the exact same spot with blockchain. What is blockchain anyway? And yeah, it's an interesting thing to be alive. I can tell you that. I watched that. When it really hit home with me actually was I've been in this space for a while, and I've been buying crypto for a couple of years. But I remember watching, Alex Paczynski, the CEO of Celsius. He was doing an interview in NASDAQ, probably 2018, 2019 sort of period, and he kind of put into perspective for me at the time. I remember watching it, I thought, right, this isn't a fad, and this is seriously going somewhere. And he said about, I've forgotten the terminology now, the VIP, the voice internet protocol. And people at the time were saying how, I think you touched on this, Greg, as well, in when we spoke earlier in the week. People thought that the internet was going to be an application for the phone networks. And he's like, no, the phone networks are going to be an application on the internet, and it enveloped the phones. And then latterly, look what's happened with Blockbuster now. It didn't adapt. Now everybody streams on Netflix and Amazon Prime. It enveloped everything. Well, he's saying there that blockchain is going to envelop the internet. It's a black hole, and that's going to. You just can't envisage that. You can't imagine it. I'm sure we could maybe watch this video back in 5 years and go, God, we had no idea what was coming, or 10 years. Because we
said that probably 5 and 10 years ago. When we all learned about crypto, everybody thought it was just a scam, right? And look at us now.
The thing is, yes and no. I met Alex Mashinsky also 3 years ago. He's here in New York. I met him with Andrew Roman, a couple other people at their events, and he almost was an advisor at Intercoin, but he never really got Intercoin. He always said that, payments is not going to be a killer app for the crypto space. he said there's going to be a killer app, but it's going to be my app, which is the crypto lending.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, there's so much obviously to do with DeFi. And there's so much smart contracts can accomplish so much, but people are just scratching the surface. With Intercoin, we understand that smart contracts can be trustless programming. Programming can do anything, almost anything. You can make a general purpose computer operating system do whatever you want. Look at how much we've done. So the applications are limitless, and to leave it for only lending or only DeFi, like what we build is we sometimes call it DeFi 2.0, because basically we give the community the ability to vote trustlessly, right? It's not just lending money. We give the ability to have a universal basic income, to redistribute money in a community with the way they want to do it, voluntarily with their own coin. No one has to accept it if they don't want, but giving them the tools to do all these things, to manage their governance. Take the governance, for example. Governance right now is in an infancy stage. The other day, ENS, Ethereum naming system, dropped the governance token, right? Uniswap has a governance token. What do? They just put a bunch of proposals to be voted on. Whoop-de-doo, like 4 proposals, and then the community votes based on how many tokens they have. We could do so much more. The results of the voting can be implemented on chain for monetary policy, but you could vote for a lot of things, and you can have direct democracy. So just that one example. So everything is in an infancy stage, and I think that blockchain, what we say blockchain, is like people in the 19th century having these. Imagine what the 21st century would look like, right? Early 20th century people drawing. And like everyone has flying cars, right? That's their whole thing. Nobody has computers, nobody has cell phones, nobody has, TVs, but they have flying cars. Like everyone's trying to imagine before the car, they used to think like faster horse, right? It's all basically about like people are thinking nicely, but in terms of old paradigms, right? If you even spoke to your parents' generation and you talked about blogs and you talked about, I don't know, NFTs, Instagram, Facebook, metaverse, like they'll understand some of it, but they're thinking in terms of like a TV connected to a phone, right? And that's the internet. Like people thought that way. So
I never actually thought it like that. Like now that you think about it, even those movies that you see that supposedly were predicting the future, it's similar to what you said. It's flying cars, but there was no, flat screen TVs or phones, right?
Yeah, the irony is we don't have flying cars. So like literally the thing
there's probably 1 or 2, in Japan somewhere that they built, but probably no mass production rather.
Like literally look at like Minority Report. Steven Spielberg hired so many people to predict the future and what's going to happen, right? And you got like flying cars, you got cars going down buildings, it's all super cool. But then when it comes to like displaying the Minority Report on the screen, the guy takes giant discs and like puts it in. Like you could just Wi-Fi that stuff. I'm sure Wi-Fi already existed at that point, but somehow if you made a realistic movie about the future, it would be super boring. Because first of all, nothing moves, everything's Wi-Fi. You don't need to do anything. And secondly, the guy gets caught immediately. Like he goes back with the different eyes, and supposedly that fools them. He has a heartbeat. He has the way he walks. Like literally, the whole system doesn't make any sense. So sci-fi movies would literally be super boring because like there would be no Commander Data in Star Trek, because that guy is literally like the AI could just do everything. Like you don't need humans to run the ship or do anything. Like literally, the future is very boring if you try to depict it, in my opinion. All the action is happening because humans are inefficient and things are cool and things are happening and you love each other. And like, if everything is solved, and there's no movement, nothing happens, and everything's Wi-Fi and no one's going out, and no one's socializing, that could be, it's kind of dark, but I guess what I'm basically saying
Don't go dark.
Don't go dark, people. The blockchain is what we currently call decentralized systems. The blockchain is not going to engulf the internet. I'm staking what I'm saying right now. Yes, the blockchain is going to secure maybe some other stuff that will engulf what we do now. But the future of money, the future of voting will not be on the blockchain. Even though I wrote that article voting in defense of blockchain voting, I had originally not said blockchain. They just put that in there. I said voting is supposed to be done with Merkle trees and other things. Blockchains have a problem. So a blockchain is a database, but unlike most databases, it has a huge bottleneck. To move the entire database from one state to the next, you need some computer in the world to collect all the changes in one place, sign them, and say these are the changes. That's called a block. That's like a first generation technology. Even BitTorrent doesn't do that, and it was like earlier than Bitcoin. BitTorrent is a massive volume network around the internet. People are sharing files. But if BitTorrent was like Bitcoin, it would be like everyone has to store every movie that's ever been shared, and everyone has every movie, and you could just like turn to anyone to use a movie. That's like super wasting memory, super wasting. Nobody could actually host a seed. And so like right now, an Ethereum node is very expensive. You have to store every smart contract, every state of everything. So when we say that blockchain is going to replace the internet, I feel that like the internet's going to evolve to have decentralized systems. And there are decentralized systems like IOTA and like Hashgraph, which are exploring different ways to do this. My favorite is Made Safe, SAFE. By the way, out of Ayr, Scotland, just letting you know. So if you ever, Carter, want to go visit them, they're basically right there. Well, it's in your country. And
Made Safe.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I didn't catch. You said they were called Made Safe.
Made Safe, MAIDSAFE. Like
I'll take a note of that.
I'm a big fan of their project. They are more hardcore than Cubics and Intercoin. They started in 2006. They were the first ICO. You think Ethereum was the first ICO? No. The first ICO was these guys, or one of the first. Ethereum did not exist. So they made their ICO on something called Mastercoin back in 2013. They raised some money, and ever since then, they have been building the decentralized internet. It's autonomous. It's not a blockchain. There's no bottlenecks. It literally just works. You can't shut it down, and you just run the node, and it joins this cloud, and everything just works. So you don't have to think about gas or fees or things like that. You literally store your files. They get stored. They're totally anonymous. They're totally encrypted. Just redundantly stored everywhere. You don't know what's going on, but like the system is incredible. And I was thinking at some point to use it as the backend for Intercoin, but we don't need like all of that stuff. And we do have some other directions we want to choose. So 3 years ago, when I was talking to the guys at Ripple, the CTO, Stephen Thomas, since then he left Ripple, started Interledger protocol. A lot of these people I know from talking to them, and I like their work, but these are not things you're going to hear about because, wait for it, it's just not enough profit to be made right now, right? It's the same as like the drugs that are not patented. You don't hear about like studies or this and that if there's no profit to be made necessarily.
So true.
And as if we will come back into our local time and local currencies with Intercoin, we have actually the question in our live stream. What are the fees when using the local Intercoin currency? Example, sending $5 for a fruit basket using the custom local made Intercoin currency. How much is the fee?
It's at least one fruit.
Well, I think it would be good if you can talk more about the Intercoin payment structure in the local currencies, right, and how people can save money in the local coins, and how they can implement local coins in real life situation.
Let me try to share my screen. Marcy, can you see my screen? Can everyone see my screen at this point?
Not yet.
Yep.
Okay. Let me know.
Now we can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, fantastic. So,
zoom in a little bit.
Still blurry?
No, zoom in, like on the actual full screen. You can probably zoom in, so it's a little bit closer.
I will try. Let me, so this is our community forum, and we talk about technology, and we talk about economics, and we talk about a lot of things here. But if you filter by technology, you go back to like Intercoin technology. I used the forum to document everything that we were going to build back in the day. We talk about 2018, before many of you have joined, pretty much all of you. So If you go and look at the consensus protocol, this guy right here, David Schwartz, he is now the CTO of Ripple. He used to be the chief cryptographer, this guy. And he and I tweeted back and forth, and we did a lot of like discussions on different channels like Stack Exchange. And basically this was talking about how we could have a scalable consensus. And he goes, okay, I guess if you're only interested in a single use case, the limitations of this scheme may be acceptable. It's interesting because our use case is literally payments. Like he's saying, okay, I guess if you're interested in a payment system, then your scalability can work, which is like great. This guy's a chief cryptographer at Ripple. He grudgingly admitted, like, okay, our consensus algorithm can work. What is our consensus algorithm? We've had a lot of articles about where we're going when we finish the Intercoin base layer protocol. We even have articles like this, overview and implications of Intercoin consensus. Vitalik Buterin is very honest. I like him for that. He admits that using Ethereum is very expensive. And he admitted that back in like 2017 when it had its previous flare up. It's expensive in like 3 different ways at least. It's expensive because a full node has to store pretty much all the history. Thankfully, Ethereum doesn't have the problem that Bitcoin has. It actually tells everyone you cannot store more than the last 256 blocks. Like, don't expect those blocks to be there. Whereas with Bitcoin, because it has a UTXO model, I'm not going to get into that right now, but unspent transaction outputs, the full nodes have to store the entire history. With Ethereum, they have a model called balances, where you store a balance for each address. How much of this token or that token do you have? And for that, you kind of have to trust the network that it didn't mess up earlier in its history. And as that guy told me, David Schwartz, he said, even if it did mess up, what can you do? You can't go back that far and undo everything. And he's right. And that's why the Ripple consensus protocol is that does its own thing. It has maybe checkpointing. Anyway, getting to the point. Currently, Intercoin is not building the base layer protocol that would be endlessly scalable and based on proof of corruption. We are going to do that, but right now we're focused on applications of the technology. So when we talk about the Intercoin applications, can everybody see this? I'm going to just launch intercoin.org/app. There are 3 layers. Yeah, you can see it? Okay, so there's 3 layers of the solution. There's the base layer protocol that's already been built by Ethereum, EOS, Binance, Smart Chain, Solana, Cardano, and many others. We're not trying to do the whole stack like Apple builds the hardware, the software, the operating system, the applications. We started with the applications. We're like Facebook. We start with the website, the applications. Then later we can build our own phone. Later we could build our own operating system. Like Google started with the search engine and the Gmail. And then later they built the Chromebook, which Marcy loves to use, the Chromebook. Right, Marcy?
Pun intended.
So basically, the point is that we are starting with these other 2 layers. That would be the user interface layer. So things are user friendly. And that's important for mainstream adoption because you don't want to necessarily use Etherscan and look at this crap. I mean, honestly, that's why this thing doesn't take off. Okay. Transactions 1 day ago. That's great. The reason it looks like this is because the system can do anything. And so this is a general purpose way of like looking at things, right? And people who know what they're looking at could be great. However, you've got to make something that looks like this operating system we have here. Windows, menus, buttons, tabs, things that people know how to use. So Intercoin will allow you to create your own community, create your own coin, manage your community. Obviously, things that you need to do, presenting to you a simple interface. We're like the Apple of crypto. Second thing that we're going to do is build the back end, right? So behind the scenes of all this happening in the back end, you have, Apple is built on macOS, which is a variant of BSD, Berkeley Systems Distribution.
For anyone joining here that is new to crypto, just letting you know, it looks very techy. They'll be scared to run away. Don't be very techy.
Right. And so this whole episode is about people like Mark Cuban and others joining, right? Artists joining. If crypto looks like this, okay, people are not going to join. And that's the reason why we don't have mainstream adoption. So there's basically three reasons why we don't have mainstream adoption. One is that everything looks geeky and there's a lack of user-friendly interfaces. The most user-friendly interface is the wallet. And all it does is make you contact your friend, say, what's your address, and put it in your own wallet, rather than having a Facebook, which does it for you. Actually, I take it back. This is probably the most user-friendly stuff. It's crypto CoinMarketCap and has at least like a trading dashboard. Okay, so the first thing is make it less geeky. The second thing is serve communities. So the first reason why it's not going mainstream is because it's geeky. The second reason is it's peer-to-peer. So if I go on Uniswap and I literally try to swap something, guess what? I'm going to swap a tiny amount, 0.00001 of ETH for USDT. How much is that going to cost me right now? So I want to sell here, 4 cents. And it's loading. Okay, first of all, it needs to be faster. I don't know why it's that. But then when we actually load it and we swap, guess what happens? Okay, cool. The slippage is pretty small. It's 4 cents only. But then, check this out. To send this much money to swap, I need to spend $107. So how is this going to go mainstream? Okay, the third problem is the blockchain. Everyone's trying to get into the same block. I try to swap, somebody else has to do something. And it's related to the community problem. If everyone's peer-to-peer, that's like everyone joining the backbone of the internet. Instead of me going to Wi-Fi in a coffee shop, right, sitting down and having the coffee shop join the internet on my behalf. Instead, it's literally I have to have a peering agreement with with internet telecom providers. It's insane. Basically, obviously, no one can sustain that sort of thing, and we wind up relying on other people's blockchains. Over here, I'm not running other people's node. I'm not running my own node on my computer. That would take a terabyte of information. I only have half a terabyte on my hard drive. So what I do is I connect to one of these guys, like Infura.io or GetBlock. And these are the third parties that read the blockchain, and you kind of trust them to be up to date. So my point is that there's three problems. One problem is it's geeky. Second problem is it's built on blockchain. And the third problem is it's peer-to-peer. Whereas with Intercoin, if you look at Intercoin, what happens is you've got we're serving communities. We got to be fast. We got to let each community have its own coin. And that means when they join the Intercoin system, it's like the internet. So each local area network has its own coin. And the double spend problem, the thing that blockchain was invented to solve, only exists within this community. You don't have to look across communities. So Wikipedia coin is never going to be found inside Detroit coin network and vice versa. So each network is a side chain of this big network, and that's Intercoin. So essentially, Intercoin is, you can think of it like Uniswap, except that the participants are not people. The participants are communities. It's 2 levels. First level is the communities, and they settle their balances once in a while. And it doesn't cost them $100 even to do that. And then within the community, you get smaller amounts. People are spending small amounts to buy food, to buy everyday things like Marcy was talking about. And it recirculates inside the community. And it turns out that when we do the protocol, finally, we do the Intercoin protocol in the future, we're going to take advantage of the fact that small amounts do not have to be secured by the entire network. Because right now, the reason that it costs me so much to do the swap is because every computer on the Ethereum network is going to make sure that that transaction was correct and basically involved in what is called consensus. Consensus is a very expensive operation. I mean, look how much it takes to run a national election and run any consensus. The more people need to figure out consensus about something, the more expensive it is. And in Bitcoin, that is expressed in terms of electricity. On proof of stake networks, that's going to be expressed in terms of whales owning a lot of stake. But at the end of the day, blockchain works by having multiple chains, and people vote either this chain or that chain will continue. That's consensus. And the problem is that blockchains do this every 10 minutes. Or in the case of Ethereum, every 15 seconds. It's super freaking expensive. And they do this operation every 15 seconds. So the whole network has to come together and choose a blockchain, a chain. Okay, this time that chain, that chain. So with Intercoin, you don't have to do that because the communities extend credit to each other a little bit, and then they settle once in a while. So you don't need like every 5 seconds, oh, this bank owes this bank 5 cents. No, all of that happens within the system, and then across the communities, these things change. And finally, when we do the Intercoin protocol, there's something called sharding or partitioning the network into like sub-networks. We are going to partition the thing all the way down to the coin. Each coin will be like a file that evolves over time and is watched by a certain number of computers. There are systems like I talked about, MadeSafe. I want to say this one, Hypercore project, used to be called DAT, D-A-T. The Hypercore protocol. It looks like cubics, except one of the cubes is dropped. But the Hypercore protocol allows totally decentralized, no blockchain, no bottleneck stuff happening. And it looks like we're going to build Intercoin protocol on top of this. So what's going to happen is it could be encrypted, it could be secured, it could be signed with encryption, but each coin is going to be watched by a certain number of computers, just like with these hypercores are also hyperswarm. Here, yep. Hyperswarm is a small group of computers that's watching a file. Just like in BitTorrent, a small group of seeders is seeding a file. And that's what Intercoin is going to be. So the coins are going to be so independent of each other. The system is going to be so scalable that you'll be able to run chat rooms, any sort of collaborative activities at all. And we call them interactivities. So later on, in some other broadcasts, I'm going to talk about interactions and interactivities. Those are what we're building. So Intercoin's not just building coins, but decentralized chat rooms, decentralized forums, decentralized whatever. And we call it currently on the blockchain. But of course, they can't be on the blockchain. So we'll come up with something else. And currently, the working name is Intercloud. So Intercloud is literally going to be the technical name. Instead of blockchain, it's going to be an Intercloud. The only problem is Intercloud is the name of some company. And I don't know. I have to see if they trademarked Intercloud, but they are in Germany, I believe. But Intercloud is.
And you're going to give them a call after this, right?
Yeah, please, can you change your name? They're a hosting company provider. So the way that trademarks work is we would not be infringing under a trademark because we're not confusingly similar to them. They run centers to hosting, right? And Intercloud would just be a technical term. It's like if somebody had a company called Blockchain, but they made blocks of storage, right? File storage. And then somebody invented a concept called blockchain, which was completely different than that. So Intercloud, we have this domain, beginning, inter.cloud. And I believe, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, blockchain doesn't have to have its own domain, blockchain.com, you know. But the point is that intercloud is going to be the next version. You heard it here. It's going to be the next version of blockchain. It's going to be beyond blockchain. And it won't have the bottlenecks that blockchain has. But we're not there yet. So in order to make things work, we're going on Binance Smart Chain, Solana, and all these other networks that support the EVM. Anyway, monologue is over. Just wanted to let you know, Intercoin builds applications for people to use, but the underlying technology is going to change. The same way that Ethereum is trying to move from 1.0 to 2.0 without any hiccups, just seamless. That's what we're going to try to do. Deploy Intercoin on the existing, hopefully Ethereum 2.0 is going to come out soon, and hopefully all of this stuff is going to go away, the gas fees and all these problems are going to go away, hopefully. It's still going to be expensive to store the state of the blockchain. Terabytes still going to be there. But at least the tokens that you have, ITR, will get dividends from Intercoin working on Ethereum 2.0. If not, then Intercoin will work on Binance Smart Chain and Polygon Matic and all this other stuff. Because we can't be like OpenSea. We can't be like those guys. People can spend $100 on one NFT transfer once in a while, but they can't spend $100 on their daily coffee purchases and all this other stuff. So got to get off of Ethereum for now. Anyway, I give the mic back to Marcy.
No, like you said, there's like so much stuff going on in the crypto space, blockchain space, and it almost like is like a movement, right? And that's why we call it the Making Crypto Go mainstream movement. And all of you watching, you can be part of it. How you can be part of it is like join our Telegram group, join our community forum, open discussion, try to support what we are doing, try to engage and get like more people involved. Like this is literally a thing that we can do to really try to like change what the problems that are actually existing right now. So yeah, like what we discussed today, you know, for those that maybe joined recently, was like how crypto is moving to a new industry and how now we're finally kind of like breaking into this blockchain industry and not considering it as something in the future, but something in the near future, you know, in the next couple of years. So definitely, you know, get involved, you know, not just with Intercoin, but be more into the space, learn. Because if you don't learn, you're kind of like left behind in a way. And, you know, if your company, if you have a business, is not adapting it a certain way, you're going to left behind. You're not going to compete in the next blockchain or NFT or whatever industry will come next, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm not sure if you guys had anything else to add on before we end the show.
I was just going to add on there to what Greg said about it's too geeky and that's why we're not getting mass adoption. I've had personal experience of that in the last few weeks with a friend that's wanted to get into cryptocurrency, and obviously it's something I've learned over the period of years. And see, try to explain that to him, and over hours or a couple of coffee meetings, it's so daunting. And then the private keys, if you get one number wrong, you're going to lose all your money. If you get one digit in the address wrong, you've lost all your money. He's like, what? You know, and I'm using a ledger. And he said, well, where do you keep your ledger? You need to keep it in a safe space. It's like, because all your coins are on it. It says, no, the coins aren't on the ledger. That's just the keys. You know, so it's never going to go mainstream unless it's something you can just, like you say, a user interface like an iPhone or an Android phone. You can just pick up and use it. You know, because it is daunting to people that are just starting off. 100%.
Yeah, so true. And that's why we're all here, right? That's why we have joined the Intercoin team and the movement and try to make a difference for the next generation.
Exactly. And you're absolutely right. Look, every technology started off with geeky stuff. Even computers, what we use today, took years. You know, they had the vacuum tubes, then they had the transistors and the punch cards and the mainframes, and then got the personal computer, but you still had to type the text. And then after that, you finally got graphical user interfaces thanks to like the research of this one guy at Xerox PARC, and Douglas Engelbert. He invented like the mouse. He invented so many things that we take for granted today: computer networking, file systems. So like then Steve Jobs and Bill Gates copied a lot of the stuff that they saw there, and they were really excited about it. And actually, maybe Engelbert wasn't at Xerox PARC, maybe it was at AT&T Bell Labs, I forgot. Anyway, but the point, no, I think Xerox PARC. It took a long time, a long progression. Then Steve Jobs invented the fonts because he took a class once, he said, at a college, and he was struck by like all these ways that you could style the text. Imagine we didn't have that. You know, it would be very interesting. I'm sure eventually it would have made it to typography, but he put it right in the word processor. And then they had the thing called what you see is what you get, WYSIWYG or whatever. It's like basically you're typing and you see it right in front of you. That wasn't always the case. You had to type it like HTML, bold, italic, here, that, the other thing. So making it less and less and less geeky, we get to today. Today, the kids these days, they don't know even how to like type anything on a big computer sometimes. I think they just have the thumbs and they do the emojis and like LOL emoji, like they're really great with that. So I'm just saying that things have become so easy to use that we're addicted. We have the always on internet. So I think this is definitely coming. Metaverse is definitely going to make people super addicted, some of them, and live in the virtual world. I have no doubt there's going to be a lot of people, they call them in Japan the hikomori, people who are shut-ins and they don't leave the house. You can get Amazon delivery, you can get food delivery, you can get everything. You don't have to leave the house. But I think that that's already too extreme. There's somewhere in the middle is like when it goes mainstream, like when we saw Facebook and we all got on Facebook, and today it's like went overboard. Now it's like too much and they control us. But like there was a time, you know, and people do the crazy arguing on Facebook and they get sucked into it. But there was a time, right? Computers
That's why
went
people are not using it.
Yeah, so like we got to be careful it doesn't go too mainstream, you know what I mean? Like some people are going to be like, there's a period when it goes mainstream and then there's a period that sucks you in. So we of course have to be careful of how we build it. And I'm just going to say this, luckily, Web 3.0 has a completely different economic model to finance projects than Web 2.0. 2.0 was literally a VC would give you money. There was two guys with a laptop, usually guys in a laptop in a garage, and then they, with the money, made a network where everything was centralized on their servers. And they literally always figured out how to scale, how to scale, how to scale. It's always the same, reinventing user sign up, reinventing chat, reinventing how to scale. But they captured all the money, they went public, and then the Wall Street investors told them, keep making money for us, keep making money. So the whole system was centralized because they have to control it in order to extract rents. Then they get the responsibility for censoring posts, not censoring posts, for putting things in the newsfeed or not putting them in a certain order. They control everything we see, and the decisions are made by a few people. And Web 3.0, it's completely flipped. It's like you can deploy anything and people can invest their virtual money in it. They don't have to know you. You don't have to know them. You don't have to have access to VCs or institutions or pension funds or anything. And the regulators they look at these old laws and they're like, well, how are you doing the crowdfunding? You need to like say it's a security and you need to go through an accredited portal. Well, regulators, there's only one accredited portal that takes tokens, and that's Republic. Like, I wish there were more. It would be nice. But you're not giving us much to work with here. And so people just go on these launch pads, exchanges, which are outside the United States, pushes a lot of stuff out. But it's just global. It's like, it pushes into the cyberspace, which lives nowhere. The smart contracts don't have a home in some country or this and that. It gets deployed and you can't take it off. So the Web 3.0 is amazing in that you could finance your project by releasing your own coin for your project, movie project, NFT project, GitHub project. Release your own coin, release your non-fungible token, sell them. People like your project, they'll buy them. And then you go ahead and use that money to build your project. So, but unfortunately, the crypto space got us into a mess too. Because first of all, it's built on blockchain. So we're paying gas fees, irrelevant gas fees on OpenSea when we could be using Polygon Matic or something else. But we're using, for some reason, these chains that everyone just happened to be on, proof of work. But the bigger problem is last 2 years, everybody got in the game and started making their own shitty smart contracts. They're called shitcoin. Literally just making a smart contract that's a clone of SafeMoon or Everrise, changing the line. That destroys the trust in the system, because the whole thing is you're supposed to trust Dogecoin to not steal your money, to not rug pull. Sure, it's Dogecoin. It has nothing besides the dog meme, but at least it won't steal your money. Whereas these new memes, who wrote the smart contract? Suddenly you have to trust the team. So Intercoin is going to solve a lot of these problems. It's going to have smart contract factories like Uniswap has, Bancor, Aave, and all these protocols that actually were vetted and audited. And then you can use these smart contracts to create standard things. So I see in the future, if we standardize things, just like we standardize the windows and the menus and the buttons, and we all know how to use a button and a menu these days. In the iOS, we know how to use the dashboard and this and that and the notifications. That's what the crypto space needs. It needs standardized components. You want to raise money? Here you go. Set the parameters. If you want to pay your employees, here you go. And so everyone knows what the deal is. You just look at a token. It has this much taxes if you cash out. It has this, it has that. And you choose it based on those parameters. You don't have to worry about the code. The parameters are there. If you don't like it, this community has too much UBI, it's too socialist for you, go to some other community. If it has no UBI and it's too capitalist for you, or too heartless or whatever, nobody gets any help, then try to introduce a UBI through democratic voting. But all these things are supposed to be completely vetted, secure, open source, and not based on blockchain. So that last part we're going to work on, but everything else we've already done. And so Intercoin is coming out with these in the next couple of months. That's what I'm not going to stop talking. I'm going to start showing these things actually working.
I think Stacy's just jumped in. Stacy, are you able to speak? I don't know if you had anything to add to this.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can.
Yeah, finally we can hear you.
Sorry.
We missed you though.
Thank you. No, just like one of the things I wanted to add on, just like basically what we talked about, but was like people that that were so against crypto not that long ago and that have jumped in. Like I had read an article, I think just in the last couple of days, and it said something like banks tried to destroy crypto and failed. Now they're jumping in. So it's just kind of like a process. And, like even other people, like maybe not so much that they were against crypto, but they were not into crypto. But we've already spoke about that. Like when Elon Musk, for the short time when he jumped in and said, we're accepting Bitcoin and that just showed how quick that the market can move. So it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful time. So I don't know. I think it's going to continue to move even faster as we go.
I agree. Hey, if we can get Elon Musk, he tweets all the time about this kind of stuff. Oh, the World Health Organization, somebody said it was $6 billion we could alleviate world hunger. And then they got misquoted. And then he replied, oh, $6 billion? Show me how you can do it. But it's got to be audited. It's got to be open source. Guess what? We're doing it, Elon Musk. Like, we don't need $6 billion. It's $1 million, and we'll build the entire protocol already. So we got to get to Elon Musk. We got to get New York City coin. We get there. But if you notice, all of these people, the billionaires, the Elon Musks of the world, and the venture capitalists, they all say the same thing. We need a universal basic income. And now they're starting to realize you need your own coin. One day, they're going to put it together. And they're going to realize, wait a second, the city coins, the Miami coin, you could airdrop it to the people, a.k.a. a universal basic income. And the UBI people will one day realize, hey, you got to pay the UBI in your own coin. Because if you just give out Bitcoin with dollars, it's not sustainable. Once they realize that, they're probably hopefully join forces. With Intercoin, I hope that we could be that middle ground. We could say, launch your own coin, drop to your people the coin. And then hopefully that can make the cities realize that, you should have your own coin. And therefore,
I mean, why shouldn't they, right? Why, like similar to what you said, why use Ethereum or another crypto where even the transaction fee alone is so high? We can create your own kind of like, I guess, blocks in the blockchain and, create your own digital currency and kind of like help that with what you specifically put in the niche, like what smart contracts want to take place. Like every community is so different and has different needs. Is almost like impossible to put it in one blockchain and make it make sense, right? Because everybody has different goals. Cities have different goals. Cities in different countries have different goals, right? So that's why we're seeing more and more cities talk about it, think about it, research it, because it's where everything is moving in the next years.
I remember reading,
yeah.
just last thing I want to say, I remember reading, because I was in the space for a long time. So when Facebook was trying to go from, they started in universities and each one had its own Facebook. It was kind of like the approach that I had, Cubics and Intercoin. They had the software. They didn't give it to them for free. It wasn't open source, but they gave each university its own network. And that could have been, we could have maybe never started Cubics and Facebook could have been the thing. But what happened was at some point they were like, oh, we're going public. Let's make one network for everybody. Let's join everything into our thing. And I remember the engineers were like, we couldn't figure out how to partition the network because everyone knew everyone now, and they graduated, and it's like, it's not like segregated by schools anymore. The same thing with Ethereum, but with communities, it's a very natural line where you can cordon it off. It's like, well, New York City coin only circulates in the New York City economy. So boom. And that solves the entire thing. So yeah, basically Intercoin just noticed that, at least like even without building the protocol, noticed that like each coin could circulate in its own community. And the Bitcoin took the other approach, which was like, it's nice, it's a first mover, it solved the double spend problem, but it solved it in the most like brute force way. It was like, take every transaction that ever happens in the entire world, and every 10 minutes we're gonna put them in an envelope, all of them, sign the envelope, and that's gonna be the next block. And it's like, yeah, I guess it works, but it can never scale. Like, so yeah, that's why I think the insight that each community should have its own coin, and it's different. One NFT community can have its own thing. And these coins don't need to be watched by the entire network. The NFT is literally just a little token that goes from person to person. Intercoin would be like, if Intercoin protocol is ever built, it would have zero cost. Is it like practically zero cost for NFTs to be transferred? And the NFTs could be private because the NFTs are just the coins themselves. The Intercoin could just be labeled with anything. So anyway, I just want to say that I think community is at the heart of all this, whether it's NFTs or whether it's coins. And the more we stick to our roots of building our own community and helping others to build their community, that's the movement. That's what everyone can join in to do.
And communities have already realized this, Greg. So that's why we're seeing more and more communities out there doing something that's like even creating their own apps, similar to what Cubics is building for a lot of companies out there. Because why should you not? Why should you use a platform that can ban you? It's not even yours. You don't collect the data, can ban you tomorrow for just saying something wrong against community guidelines, where you can start everything from scratch, from even like the payments or the gift cards, you can turn them into like, what was the points system, I think was it, or reward system that you can build. So yeah, there's like a lot of like great things moving. It's just about communities understanding like where to start, who to contact, contact us. But
that's what we have to do, serve them. All right.
So thank you guys so much. This is a great show. We're going to notify you for the topic for the next show. Again, don't forget, every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern time on our Telegram and YouTube channel will be live. You can even send us maybe questions in advance that you want us to get covered. With that said, we wish you a great rest of the day and rest of the week. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. See you.
Welcome to Intercoin, making crypto mainstream.